Delhi continues to struggle with an acute shortage of oxygen supply. Now, in the wake of this crisis, at least 4 hospitals are now at Delhi High Court. Hospitals have sought police protection from the Delhi High Court, saying oxygen shortage may lead to law and order problems at the hospitals. The court has directed Delhi police to protect their hospitals. This comes as High Court also hit out at the centre over the oxygen crisis in the national capital. The High Court directed the centre to give a definite date on which Delhi will get its allocated 480 metric tons of oxygen, asserting that Delhi has not received the promised quota of oxygen. The High Court said we cannot allow people to die like this. The centre responded saying that 2 oxygen tankers have reached Delhi, others are en route. And Delhi's Jaipur Golden Hospital has received fresh supply of oxygen after it raised an alarm over the shortage. Jaipur Golden Hospital, along with 3 other hospitals, approached the Delhi High Court. Jaipur Golden Hospital informed the court that 25 patients have lost their lives yesterday because of non-availability of oxygen. Now, taking cognizance of this matter, the Delhi High Court instructed the centre to ensure that the promised 480 metric tons of oxygen to Delhi is provided. The centre was also asked to provide a date when the same would be ensured. Earlier, Jaipur Golden Hospital administration reached out to the Delhi government and other agencies for emergency oxygen supply. The hospital claimed the situation is extremely critical. The hospital needed oxygen immediately. The administration also told the hospital that they were to get 3,600 litres by 5:30 p.m. yesterday, but that did not arrive. But 1,500 litres of oxygen was given by midnight, which unfortunately was not sufficient.
मेरी वाइफ थी यहाँ पे सर।
क्या आप रात को आए तो आपने क्या देखा?
हम 10 बजे आए, बिल्कुल ठीक थे। उसके बाद हम घर चले गए। 3 बजे फ़ोन आया कि आपके है ही नहीं, पेशेंट ख़त्म हो गए, हार्ट काम नहीं कर रहा। हमने कहा 10 बजे ठीक थे। जब ऑक्सीजन नहीं है तो पेशेंट क्या करेगा? हमें कहते जी हमने छोटे सिलेंडर से दिया। अरे इतना NIV पे इतनी चाहिए, ऑक्सीजन चाहिए, छोटे सिलेंडर से पेशेंट उधर तड़फ रहा है। 6 पेशेंट उसी वार्ड में मर गए।
पिछले 5 दिन से यहाँ पर वो बच्चा हमारा एडमिट था। मैनेजमेंट ने इतनी लापरवाही की, अच्छा रिकवर कर रहे थे, प्लाज्मा दिया गया, प्लाज्मा उनको चढ़ाया भी गया, 1 यूनिट उनको प्लाज्मा चढ़ा भी दिया, बहुत अच्छा रिकवर कर रहे थे, बोल रहे थे, चल रहे थे। जबकि डॉक्टर्स को, मैनेजमेंट को ये पता होता है कि हमारे पास कोटा कितनी देर का बचा हुआ है, तो वो अगर चाहते 2 घंटे पहले अगर पेरेंट्स को बताते कि भाई आपके पेशेंट के लिए हमारे पास ऑक्सीजन नहीं है, तो हम भागते दौड़ते कहीं से ब्लैक में लाते, कोशिश करते, अपने पेशेंट को बचाने की कोशिश तो करते।
Situation in the national capital remains to be grim. There is constant SOS alarms coming from different hospitals. Not only the big chain of the hospital, but the smaller hospitals are also affected worst. Right behind me is the Golden Jaipuria Hospital. Several COVID patients are being treated here, and last night 20 patients died due to lack of oxygen. They were critical, they were infected by COVID and were treating in this hospital. The supply was maintained, but at last, because of the crisis, the oxygen flow was lowered down to ensure the maximum time the hospital, the administration could buy. But that couldn't survive the 20 critical patients who died due to lack of oxygens. Political blame game between Delhi and centre continues. No one thinking about the acute shortage of supply of oxygen in the national capital, because most of the hospitals, one hospital getting 1 tanker, another getting another tanker, but when there is a thousands of ton oxygen is required, the supply at par with the demand is not being met, and that's exactly the Delhi we're facing biggest challenge. And until this is resolved at war foot, the issue may unfold into another and perhaps bigger tragedy. The national capital continue to struggle with the oxygen crisis. In Delhi, with Himanshu, this is Ashutosh Mishra for India Today.
So how bad is the situation at the Jaipur Golden Hospital? India Today's Pankaj Jain spoke to the managing director, DK Baluja.
सर अभी मैं बहुत क्राइसिस में हूँ, मेरे पास आधे घंटे की ऑक्सीजन है।
मैं आपसे 10 सेकंड और लूंगा आपके। मुझे सर बस ये बता दीजिए कि आपके यहाँ फिलहाल ऑक्सीजन की स्थिति क्या है? और
सर आधे घंटे की ऑक्सीजन है।
आधे घंटे की ऑक्सीजन। और रात को क्या स्थिति रही सर? मरीजों का क्या हाल रहा?
रात को जो हमारी सप्लाई कल 5:30 बजे आनी थी, शेड्यूल्ड थी जो,
हाँ,
वो जो आनी थी 3.6 मेट्रिक टन, मतलब 3600 लीटर आनी थी, वो आई है रात को 12 बजे पार्शियल 1500 लीटर।
ओके।
और इस दौरान में हमें सारा एग्जॉस्ट हो गया, अपने गैस सिलेंडर चलाए हमने, आईसीयू में क्रिटिकल एरिया में तकरीबन 20 लोगों की मौत भी होगी।
आप ये कह रहे हैं कि ऑक्सीजन ना मिलने की वजह से 20 लोगों की मौत हो गई आपके
हाँ जी,
अस्पताल में?
हाँ जी, क्रिटिकल केयर में।
आप
वैसे वो पेशेंट वो सिक तो थे काफी, ये नहीं वो बचते ना बचते भगवान जानता, लेकिन उसमें वो ऑक्सीजन देने में हमारी उसमें कमी रह गई।
अच्छा, आप उनको ऑक्सीजन नहीं दे पाए या ऑक्सीजन नहीं थी, कमी थी, इसलिए आप कह रहे हैं कि उनकी मौत हो गई?
उसके बाद रहते ना रहते अलग बात थी, बट ये होना नहीं चाहिए था।
जी
ठीक है,
धन्यवाद।
Let me now get you the latest situation at Delhi's Batra Hospital. Batra Hospital 2 raised an alarm over shortage of oxygen, saying they're left with barely 20 minutes of oxygen. Of course, emergency oxygen has now been provided to Batra Hospital, but after receiving this supply, Batra Hospital says that there are 260 patients in the hospital. 500 liters of oxygen has been provided, which may last them about an hour or an hour and a half. The hospital then went on to say that their requirement is to cater to 7,048 critical patients are at huge risk.
एक एसओएस आज अलार्म किया गया बत्रा अस्पताल की ओर से, अभी स्थिति क्या है सर यहाँ पे?
सर हमारे पास सुबह 7 बजे 1 घंटे की ऑक्सीजन थी, मात्र 1 घंटे की, वो भी 7 से 8 के बीच में ख़त्म हो गई थी। 7 से 8 के बीच में हमने बहुत कोशिश की सबसे मिलने के बाद, तो हमारे पास एक चारा था कि हम ऑक्सीजन जिनको बहुत ज़्यादा नीड है तो हमने आईसीयू पेशेंट्स को देनी शुरू कर दिया है। बाकी पेशेंट्स को हम ऑक्सीजन सिलेंडर से सप्लाई कर रहे हैं। इन द मीन टाइम सरकार ने सुनाई करके अभी हमको 500 लीटर ऑक्सीजन दिया है। एक ऐसे अस्पताल में जहां पर टोटल एक्सपेंडिचर 7-8 हज़ार लीटर का हो, एवरेज, ज़्यादा भी हो सकता है, कम भी हो सकता है, और वहां पर 500 लीटर की मात्र सप्लाई से क्या होने वाला है मेरी समझ में नहीं आता। वो इमरजेंसी ये सप्लाई मात्र 45 मिनट टू 1 आवर की होगी, यानी 45 मिनट 1 घंटे में सप्लाई तो आनी नहीं है। 1 घंटे हो भी गए अभी तक, तो हम फिर वहीं पर हैं, बैक टू द सेम पोजीशन। तो हमारे यहाँ अभी भी लाइफ ऑफ द पेशेंट इज टोटली ऑन स्टेक।
And as India battles this oxygen crisis, the centre has stepped in. It's actually asking the states to prevent hindering the movement of oxygen tankers from one state to the other. The states have been directed to take steps for revival of closed units to fast forward the supply to meet the increased demand. Now, in a letter to all states, the Ministry of Home Affairs has also directed states to ensure unhindered and uninterrupted supply of transport of oxygen. Not just this, the Ministry of Home Affairs is also coordinating the lifting of high-capacity tankers by air from overseas, including from Singapore and the United Arab Emirates. The Indian Air Force has its aircraft on standby. The Ministry of Defence has also sanctioned 5 crore rupees under emergency financial powers to the Armed Forces Medical Services to tackle the surge in COVID-19 cases across the country. And India Today's Rajdeep Sardesai caught up with some of the top doctors with the query about oxygen levels, the role of an oximeter, oxygen concentrators in this war against COVID-19. Let's listen in.
A lot of debate going on. What is the, should I be at home unless my oxygen level drops very sharply?
So, COVID cannot be treated by one pulse oximeter alone. I think all my colleagues have correctly echoed that you look at the patient as a whole. If by the 5th or 6th day, the fever is unrelenting means more than 100.5 and above. If the patient's appetite is dropping, if the patient's oxygenation, which to begin with was 97, 98, is going down gradually, if the cough is absolutely chronic and not settling down, you treat the patient as a whole. This is an individual who has unrelenting fever, cough which is not subsiding, who has saturation going down. You don't wait for only one parameter. But having said that, if everything else is all right and if the saturation suddenly drops under 92, 91, when the patient definitely has cleared his throat, taken deep breaths, and rechecked the saturation, yes, then you have to quickly think of going to the hospital. One warning here is a lot of people sleep in air-conditioned rooms. They leave their arms outside the blanket and the fingers get cold. They get up at night and put on the saturation meter and they see 88 or 86. Please don't panic. Rub your fingers properly, turn off the AC, see it in multiple fingers, make sure you're less than 92 before rushing to the hospital. So these are tips where you don't decide, but you call in your treating doctor. Your family doctor can decide for you. Your COVID doctor can decide for you. Don't panic unnecessarily. It's a conglomeration of symptoms that leads the patient to the hospital.
Because Dr. Thakkar, someone is asking, my oximeter reading is between 85 and 90. I am advised oxygen at home, but there is no oxygen in the market. What should I be doing? What is the treatment if my oxygen has now dropped between 85 and 90? Do I stay at home or do I panic and go to the hospital?
So this
and
is
if
what
I'm at home, how do I get oxygen?
This is what I was saying. Even if you don't have any of the other symptoms, but your oxygen suddenly drops under 92, 91, and definitely under 90, we have a syndrome called happy hypoxia. The patient has no symptoms. He's happily sitting at home, but the oximeter gives the game away. This patient needs oxygen. If you can't give the oxygen at home, go to a jumbo center, go to a nursing home, go to a tent. And if you have no other choice, go to the hospital where they can provide you oxygen. So the oximeter plays the role only to lead and give a clue when the patient is otherwise normal, but he has a sudden drop in oximeter. Yes, this patient at 85 or 90 should not be watching our show, should be making his way to a hospital or to a nearby center for oxygen.
And is there an age factor, Dr. Thakkar? Do older people have to worry more if their reading is below 94?
Well, you know, older people with age have lost their respiratory compliance because their lungs have lived for 70 years versus a young man whose lungs have lived for 30 years. So if elderly people drop sharply under 91, or as my colleague said, 10% of the drop, then you need to quickly think of making arrangements. And hospitalization is not required. You can do home therapy. You can give oxygen supplementation at home. But elderly people, the red flag goes up faster than younger people. I agree.
Now, if you or someone you know is suffering from COVID-19 and has trouble breathing, the symptoms are mild and perhaps then you can get some relief by lying in bed in prone position. India Today's Mosmi Singh has spoken to a number of doctors and gets you a demonstration of a very simple technique that can be practiced at home that can help improve oxygen levels.
Many a times, if a person is tested COVID positive, you rush to the hospital for hospitalization. But what you don't know is if your oxygen level is falling and it's above 90, then perhaps you could in fact do some home techniques, especially this proning exercise where you put 3 pillows if you have 3, and if you have 2 pillows, you can put 1 under your shin, 1 under your chest, and like this. This is, you lie down on your stomach and you take your oximeter and you deep breathe. Not every time you can you just see the oxygen level, and you can actually improve your So in this pulse meter, my oxygen level has reached 99, and that's just taken me about 15 seconds. If you repeat this exercise for good 30 minutes several times in a day, then almost for 16 hours, then you can actually improve your oxygen level to almost above 95, and that's a very good technique that you can do. It's advised by doctors as well, and you don't need to panic. If you feel that still your oxygen level is not improving, you can go for a CT scan. If you have mild infection, you can use an oxygen concentrator or an oxygen cylinder at home, and take some advice on the phone that we call telemedicine, teleconsultation. Speak to your doctor in the locality, and you have to monitor your blood pressure, your oxygen levels, of course, continuously, and also your sugar levels. If your situation deteriorates further, then is the time when you need hospitalization. But the key to everything is, please don't panic. Perhaps certain techniques and keeping your calm can save many lives. This is Mosmi Singh in Delhi for India Today.
Genome sequencing of samples of COVID-19, extremely imperative to understand the extent of the mutation and perhaps tweak the treatment protocols. But the government has admitted it's not feasible anymore to even sequence 5% of the samples as promised earlier. India Today, India now gets you information that India has sequenced less than 1% of the samples for genomics, woefully low as mutant variants continue to create havoc. India Today's Sneha Mordani explains why this is a major setback.
Even 5% samples can't go for genome sequencing, says the head of India's disease control program, even as the worst hit states in India battle mutants. Ever since the country started to genome sequence using the network of 10 labs, less than 1% of the samples have been sequenced. Woefully low, say experts.
You need sequencing on a large scale, like at least 10% of your cases, to know what kinds of variants. And you need to sequence to know that are your lockdown measures, are your containment measures just reducing the old variant, or is it actually reducing the new contagious variants? Because new contagious variants, especially P1, is 2 times more contagious and is much more difficult to control. But without sequencing, you cannot make any claim.
The government is throwing its hand up in the air at a time when variants are replicating and mutating, leading to visible mayhem. By the government's own admission, the presence of the highly transmissible UK variant, the B.1.17 variant, has almost doubled in a span of less than a month in Delhi. It was seen in 28% of the samples in the first week of March, and this doubled to 50% towards the end of March. The assessment perhaps explained the exponential surge in cases of COVID in Delhi. The centre says the number of UK variant detected in Delhi has doubled. For example, in the first week of March, 28% samples showed the UK variant. In the 4th week of March, more than 50% of the samples were of the UK variant. Out of the 2,521 samples sequenced in Delhi, 13% samples found to be having the UK variant. 3% had the Indian variant, which is the double mutant variant. Meanwhile, in the state of Maharashtra, the presence of the double mutation variant has outnumbered the UK variant. Out of the 1,700 samples sequenced in Maharashtra, 24.8% of them had the Indian variant, which is the double mutant variant. About 1.7% were found to be having the UK variant. A triple mutation has been detected in West Bengal, scientists have confirmed. Genome sequencing is imperative to understand the manner in which the mutating variants are behaving, to understand the kind of impact that they are causing vis-a-vis the severity of the infection. It is unlocking the COVID code. Fighting a pandemic without doing adequate genome sequencing is almost like fighting an unknown enemy, somebody you know nothing about. The fight then becomes even more dangerous. In New Delhi, Sneha Mordani for India Today.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.